Let me get back to that cool sounding thing I mentioned before. And I don't have my sweater, so I'm not going to be looking like Mr. Rogers today. But I was thinking about what I said, that there are three. See, I'm probably not the most. It's funny, I was referred to as an intellectual. That's so bad. And I'm not I swear I'm not intellectual because I don't know how to use words correctly. But I'm going to say that there are something I was saying today. There's like, I don't know what word I can use. There's three of somethings in the world. And I'd say three elements. Maybe that's not what I'm saying, the right word. Some academic person will rip me a new asshole on that. But the thing I was thinking about, maybe three modalities of being, using Jean-Paul Sartre's thing. Though I'm not really truly claiming an existential element on this. But here's what I mean. It's like there's the self, sort of our perspective on the world, the observer's perspective, the kind of Einstein thing. You know, if you get into Einstein's physics, the observer perspective, which has to be taken in consideration in physics, which up until Einstein did it, no one really did that. People just looked at the world as being purely objective. But there's the self, the observer's perspective, the world outside, which you subtract the observer and there's the world out there without anybody to observe it. But it's there, which doesn't make sense. And the unity of it, between the self and the outside world, that sort of together, which is, you know, what I think of as the true reality of things. But there's that. And I've been thinking about that. I think the only way you can make those separations and the unities too, the separation and the putting it together, is in the mind. See, the mind is a world in itself. It's a world inside of a world. I was just thinking about all kind of stuff. I've learned a lot of things from the books I've read, and have been thinking about things a lot. You know, trying to understand the world. And one of the things I've come to the conclusion of is very simple. Every ideal we have about the world is inferior to the world. The world is bigger. The reality of the world, of the universe, of everything, is bigger than we could ever understand. You know, and it's something that you hear a lot of philosophers and scientists, people who really thought about this, understand that. Our understanding of the world is always limited. It's always current to what we know so far. What we understand so far is the world so far. As new things come in, our perspective changes. You know, people a long time ago might have thought the earth was flat. And they weren't being stupid or silly or, you know, anything. That's what they saw. That's all they understood. And it didn't matter to them. I mean, if you're a farmer somewhere, let's say you're a farmer 2,000 years ago, you're planting crops, you're trying to grow things, you don't care if the earth is round or flat. All you care about is planting your crops. You're focusing on that and doing what you have to do to survive and to make it in this world. And so that's what you focus on. You don't ponder great questions. You don't ponder whether or not the earth is standing still and the sun is going around it, or if the earth is going around the sun. You don't think about it. You just try to make it from day to day. That was true 2,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. And that's true today. Most people are just trying to get to work. They're trying to get to work. They're trying to, you know, get the work done and meet the deadline and everything else. And they're not pondering the ultimate reality of things. I know that. You know, people ponder the ultimate reality on YouTube, but they don't ponder the ultimate reality of things in everyday life. People are busy trying to pay bills. So they don't think about these things. I'm busy trying to pay bills too, but every so often I take a little time every day. Even when I'm busy at work, I'll stop and think about things and reflect on things. And think about what is the truth of things. And I think that the one thing that keeps occurring to me over and over again is the fact that our understanding of the world is never going to be complete. It can never be complete. It's not like one of these days we'll know everything. Anybody who thinks that way, you know, they're just wrong. I don't know any other way to put it. We'll never have a complete understanding of the world. will never really understand the world completely, which is okay. We survive. We'll make it. We can do better. The one thing is we can have a better understanding of the world. We can always move in the direction of having a better understanding of the world. And so that's what I always do. I try to learn new things, have new experiences. That's why I love to travel. That's why I love to meet people. And I try as much as I can not to have preconceived ideals about people. You know, when I meet somebody of different races, of a different culture, I don't jump in there with a pre-thought out ideal, because if you really don't want to learn something, the best way not to learn things is to have a preconceived ideal. You know, you meet someone, for example, who's a Muslim. You have this preconceived ideal about Muslims. You know how those people are. So when you meet them, you talk with them. You know, if they tell you something different than what you know, you ignore what they're telling you. You ignore every interaction you're having with them. You know, you could have somebody who's Muslim stay with you for a while. They could live in your house for a week, a month, or whatever. You interact with them. You ignore everything that you're experiencing, everything they're telling you, and you stick to what your old prejudice ideal and say, well, what I thought before is still the truth. They're just deceiving me. You know, a lot of people are that way. You can work with people, for example, of a different race for 20, 30 years. I know people like that. And all their experiences and interactions with people say one thing, but they stick to that prejudice forever. I've learned a lot of things from interacting with people on YouTube, from listening to other people. Believe me, I actually listen to what people say. I learned sometimes to just quiet my mind and listen to what people say so that I can learn something. Because I'm always trying to expand my understanding. My understanding of the world can always expand. But I know that no matter how much it expands, it'll never be complete. It will always be inferior to the reality of things. And you have to know there will forever and eternally be that gap between what the world is and what I understand it is. But I know I can always learn more. And to me, that's what's important. Just know that you can always learn more.